I'm a little intimidated by your traps. It's like a freaking, is that like one of those kids sweatshirts that have the padding to make them look like superheroes? Because you're looking buff, man.
Well, I got it from my mom. It was from the 80s with the shoulder pads in there.
Nice.
It's working.
I thought you were about to say you got your traps from your mom. So super excited today to have my good friend Shane Fazen on the No Fear podcast, and we're doing this special pandemic series where I'm interviewing influencers. I don't know if you realize you're an influencer. You're like an Instagram, YouTube influencer. How many followers do you have on
over 2.5 million on YouTube and 250,000 on Instagram.
Wow. I think I'm not even gonna air this show. I'm just gonna disconnect right now and go take up another job or something. 2.5 million. Wow. Good for you, man. It's insane. For those of you who don't know, you should know, because I've reposted Shane's stuff and he's shared my stuff and I've been on his gig. But he runs Fight Tips and he's relentless with his consistency. He's amazing in how he handles any type of controversy or negativity anywhere online. Literally, I would vote for you to be president, and that'll tie into one of our questions. But like everybody else, I'm reaching out to people who I have always been impressed with online about their either positivity, their frequency, the shutdown, the quarantine hasn't changed your energy, optimism, or output. And so you were one of the guys. And I'm talking to, like, we had, Ryan Mickler on from Order of Man. We've got Mike Glover, who's counterterrorist, military background on, and each one's really different. 2 days ago, world Lethway champ Dave Leduc, very, very cool call. And so very diverse, it's not like an echo chamber where I'm only talking to people that, and none of you guys know my questions unless you start listening to the other stuff. So I told you last night, don't listen to the interview.
I didn't. Okay. I didn't listen.
Good. So Shane, welcome to the show. And
thank you.
And I love the lighting in that place. It actually, the whole vibe there. I've started to release these on Vimeo because you haven't helped me figure out how to get on YouTube yet. But for the people on Libsyn only hear the audio, but his gym actually looks like a strip club now. There needs to be, get rid of that double end ball and put a pole there, and you got dancers in the background.
I can change the colors with this neat little remote here.
Amazing.
Well, not from here, but I can.
Okay. I dig it. Good stuff. Okay. I've lost total concentration now just because of that sexy purple.
You were asking me how I turned my garage into a strip club.
Right. And, but we'll save that to the end and see if it comes back. First question. The pandemic podcast through No Fear Filter. How are you doing? Honest. How are you doing?
Doing well. There's a lot going on. Mostly it's the fear of the unknown, of how things are going to change on the other side of this, during this. Are we at the peak? They keep saying this is the peak week, that we're entering the peak week. And I'm reading a lot of headlines, taking it all with a grain of salt, trying to make my best judgments with common sense, because you don't know who's right, who's wrong. No one can really guarantee. We can only make predictions. But more than ever now, I'm just trusting my gut. I'm trying to read less and just use common sense. Nice. We're doing good. We're doing good. Business is good, and personally, we're doing well. Family's healthy, so just staying optimistic.
That was the next question: is how's the family doing?
Yeah, everyone's healthy. We're now starting to, people within our immediate connections are getting it. My dad's partner's wife is in a medically induced coma now. She's a nurse.
Wow.
She's went into a coma yesterday or the day before.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and their son has had medical problems his whole life, so he's not even leaving his bedroom, let alone the house. You know, he's
Right.
really scared. So when you think about that, it's just two connections away. Now it's starting to become a little more serious and a little more real.
Wow. That's crazy.
So
Can I
yeah,
ask a personal question without, I mean, did she have any type of respiratory issues or anything like that? Or she just got this because of her proximity to other.
I don't know, to be honest. All I know is that she's a nurse and she's been working this entire time. So
Wow.
yeah.
Sorry to hear that, man. Hopefully she pulls out of that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's
Wow. Wow. Okay. Well, let's forge forward here. Kind of a heavy it's a challenge to segue into the because this wasn't the purpose of this call is, okay, what can we do, what can we learn? And I guess to wrap that up is something that I've said over and over again is like the danger is real. This is real, and you can't hide from it. It's not like when we talk self-defense and we're looking at pre-contact cues and I go, see that guy in the corner, he just put out a cigarette and came off the wall and he looked over his shoulder. There's no pre-contact cues for this. It's an invisible attacker.
yeah.
So we just got to we got to trust CDC and the task force and do all the social distancing and wash your hands, don't touch your face, like like that. Literally, if you understand how this thing infects us, you do your best to circumvent that. And it's no different in everything we've ever talked about: detect, diffuse, defend, right? The 3Ds: detect and avoid, defuse and de-escalate. And those now become an internal conversation and how we carry ourselves.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, everything's an ambush concerning to the coronavirus. I mean, we can take the preparations to slow it down, but there's no guarantee. We have to assume that it's everywhere, that everyone has it.
Yeah. Yeah. How has this affected your business, and what have you done to adapt?
I mean, we've always been online, which worked out for us.
Right.
A lot of gyms now are resorting to online training, online personal training, holding classes. And that's what I recommend a lot of them do. I'm encouraging a lot of people who can afford it to continue to support the gym that they're at so that there still is a gym. But I know it's a tough time for everybody. So for us, yeah, we've been trying to provide as much as possible while still sustaining an income and being able to support my own family. But we're doing a lot of free workouts. We got stuff coming to our new website. So we have like an online membership website. We're giving 14 days away for free to see, I want people to go on and just take all the information they can. And if they have to cancel on the 13th day, I'm totally okay with that.
Right.
So, like I said, it's a really strange, weird time. And I don't know how long it's going to last or how it's going to affect us in the long run. But I just heard from the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. Yeah, he was just talking about how he sees this as the switch from the industrial age into the information age, and I think that was already happening.
Right.
I don't really like use the word luck or I don't want to give credit to luck, but I do think I was fortunate in the time that I was born and that my family had a computer and that I was able to get a job enough to buy a digital camera back when I was 12 years old, 13 years old, and then fortunate enough to just decide to film me and my friends boxing in the backyard and sharing the things that I learned from Taekwondo class. I was fortunate enough to stay consistent with it. It's a very sad time that we're living in right now, but fortunate that we're doing okay, that a lot of people have to train at home and that they're starting to open their eyes up more to online training, and they're realizing that it is not a substitute, but it's a supplement to real training. So yeah, business is actually doing really well. really well. And then there's a side of me that I feel bad saying that, just because I've so many close friends that own businesses, small gyms that are shut down indefinitely.
Right.
So
Yeah.
bittersweet.
Yeah, no, and that's a great answer, man. I appreciate your transparency there. At the end of the day, you know, selfishly, it's every man and woman for himself. It's, like it's, and you got to think that way without making your choices that might really harm another family or another person. In your case, everything you're doing hasn't changed, so you're not like exploiting a situation, right? So you're not like, I'm not going to mention the company because I don't want to get political, but there was like a big big company making masks that were not selling them to American hospitals or outlets. It was like getting a better price from overseas or out of the country, and that was real controversial. So at the end of the day, that's making a decision where that's compromising the health of somebody else, but you're still getting the same margin. Why not just sell it to the people you're close to? Political, philosophical thing. You're not doing anything different than you ever did. In fact, you're doing more stuff for free. So you're making those ethical choices anyhow.
Yeah.
Let's shift to try and change the energy a little bit here.
Yeah.
What is
Sorry
the?
about that.
Yeah, it's okay. No, man, that's fucking heavy news, and that's legit. I know of people who've had stuff happen, but they're not that close that I'm like, holy shit, So, my thoughts are with you and your family. Best thing about the lockdown,
Spending time with the wife.
right? Because you guys don't spend enough time together anyhow, right?
Well, we really do. We live together. We work from home together. We have the same hobby, so we are together all the time.
Right.
But
You
no,
do
it's nice.
road trips in a van together, So like, oh great, oh honey, great. There's a quarantine. We're gonna get to spend more time together. But
Well, that's kind of the thing, is like, it's that not much has changed for us. Like
right.
we already work from home already, and we're always together all the time. But we're yesterday we had a Thanksgiving dinner. We decided to she went out and she got a turkey when she got, we've been trying to buy like 2 weeks worth of food every time we go out, so we're not leaving the house. But she got a turkey, and we did the whole shebang with the mashed potatoes and green bean casserole and all that. So we're trying to just, and we're FaceTiming family a lot, which is cool. And people are home. People have time to respond to you. So I'm using this time to really connect again with family and friends and FaceTime and all that kind of stuff. So it's good, man. It's good.
Worst thing about the lockdown?
The fear of the unknown, of what's going to happen afterwards. Like, are people going to be apprehensive to get near each other again, and for how long? Are people going to stop shaking hands and giving hugs? Like you think about like jujitsu classes, like people who were on the fence about signing up for jujitsu.
Right.
Now at the end of this, they're going to be like, no way am I going to be chest to chest with a stranger for an hour straight. Right. It's not worth it. So things like that. I wonder, like, is there going to be people who have gotten the coronavirus, and then they're going to separate them from the people who haven't gotten them? There's going to be two different classes. And then that's what scares me, is like the separation, or the possibility of the separation between those two people, those two classes.
Lots of emotional, psychological fear there. And it's interesting that you answered that, because like, as you know, that's the stuff that I think is most important in life, is the movie in our mind. And is it a movie that's a horror film and we're victimizing ourselves, or is it a movie where maybe I have some uncertainty, but my attitude is, you know what, I'm the hero in the story. I'm going to be, the action star that saves the day. And that's really as simple and as lame. And I love sharing that movie metaphor with people, that you're the producer, you're the screenwriter, you're the director of the movie in your mind. And I'd say to you, as a friend and somebody I care about, is your sensitivity makes you entertain that stuff, but cultivate the self-awareness, Shane, to stop that movie, because all it's doing is producing cortisol and negativity. And even if it's for a half an hour cumulatively in a day, but it may be, you may not realize that one day you're reading a book and then you start daydreaming about something because you hear something on the news, and then like 90 minutes went by where you're on Twitter reading all the same stuff. This is the end of the world. This is that. And I tell people, using like a self-defense metaphor, you can't get time back. And when you produce a negative movie in your mind, you're actually mugging yourself of time. You can't get it back. And you went, holy shit. And you almost want to catch yourself. I do it. It's a human thing. It's not that I'm above it. It's what I've done is I've trained my brain to look for the start of the movie. And I want you to think about it. It's such a cool thing. It's like, I want you to pretend that you're a producer and you want, and I know this to be your personality. It's why you're like such a class act online, because you're not a dick. You're not a douchebag. You're not angry. You really want the best for people. So treat yourself the same way. I want you to pretend, and sharing this idea to you, pretend that you're a movie producer, and Shane, who's concerned about the unknown, comes in and goes, hey, I got the script that I want to run. I want to use up like 2 hours of today. And the movie is, it's the end of the world. There's no more clinching. There's no more jujitsu. The government, because we all sat down and closed our businesses, the government has banned like person-to-person contact. Unless you are both have these chips implanted in you and you're married and you sign this waiver to government that we don't have to put you on a respirator if you contract this. And you're like, and this is
rated R, starring Colin Farrell.
And somebody's going to make a movie like that, right? I mean, like, think about it in 2 years from now, all the movies.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But understand, I'm glad you're smiling right now. But I want you to visualize how simple this is. You're the producer. I come in, I go, Shane, what are you doing this afternoon? You go, man, I was going to work out in the garage. We're going to film some stuff for Fight Tips. And I go, hey, I just heard the most horrible news and it gave me an idea for a movie. I want you to entertain this. And you go, wow. And then you think about that dark shit for 2 hours. And then, somebody messages you and you're like, you ignore it because you're in a bad mood. And the wife says, hey, do you want dinner? And you go, no, I'm not hungry. Like, it's contagious, right?
Yeah.
Or you're the producer and I come in and go, hey, you want to hear some horrible news? And then have that thought consume you for a fucking hour and a half and mug yourself your time. And you go, no, don't even tell me. And I'm not saying ignore what we need to understand. I'm saying cultivate the self-awareness that allows you to catch yourself in a horror movie. You know my acronym, false expectations appearing real, one that I share all the time. It's when I'm visualizing a future event where I'm scared shitless, but it hasn't even happened. And I'm visualizing it in such a way that it's immobilizing me in the present, or it's ruining my day-to-day activities. And I think a lot of people are suffering with that right now. But it's a simple metaphor. It's my movie metaphor for the mind.
Yeah. No, and it's a great reminder, and I appreciate you telling me again. It's like one of those things where it's like I want to use the fear to prepare and be ready for these scenarios.
And that is the gift of fear. That is what you're supposed to do, right? And right. So you remember the acronyms, right? I face it, I understand it, I control it, and then I know it. Fuck fear. Face it, right. Understand it, control it. So the idea is I get a fear spike, I hear something, I need to if I face it, then I'm going to research it, right? So now I'm Googling, I'm calling a doctor, I'm calling a military friend, I'm calling, is this real? Is this happening, right? And then suddenly you're educated, and we come back to what you said in the beginning, you got to trust your gut.
Yeah.
Is this real? Because there's always going to be two camps polarized. It's the end of the world. Right. No, this is our next best new, right? Speaking of information, where are you getting your info and how are you verifying it?
Well, that's the thing. Like these days I'm trying to not read it, but like, to be honest, like Twitter, and then how am I verifying it? Again, like trusting my gut, common sense, right. Kind of shit. Like it's like,
because it's easy.
I know.
It's easy in the echo chamber, right? To find the person that thinks like you and go, what do you think of this? Oh, it's a conspiracy,
Yeah.
Feedback.
And I've always been that way. Like, where are you getting your information from has always been like a joke amongst like some of my close friends. Like in the fitness world and like health and nutrition and stuff, they'd be like, oh, I thought I wasn't supposed to eat carbs after 7. It's like, where are you getting your information from? It would be like a joke. Like,
I'm being coached by Facebook.
Yeah, exactly. My friend on Facebook. Yeah. So, I mean, like, it's just like, I don't know. I don't know what to believe. So I'm not really believing anything. And I'm just trying to use my best judgment.
Roll with the punches. Be a fighter, man.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you? Do you recommend like any specific sources or people or
me? Just call me up when you want to know what's happening.
Yeah. Cool.
No, man, I'm the same. Listen, there are certain people in politics. I don't like how this has been politically exploited. That disgusts me. That we all can't just come together and go, let's save lives and fight the virus. Metaphorically, most of my clients are military, law enforcement, first responders, emergency services. And, imagine like the government said to you and me, don't go to work, but they said to all the cops and the nurses and the doctors, go to work. It's like, oh, well, like, why can't I stay home too? Right? If this is so dangerous. So I hate how it's been politicized. It's put people in danger. And if it is the case, it's like I wrote something when this first hit. I said, this is our medical 9/11, where after the real 9/11, we all came together as a world, not just the states, and went, terrorism bad, right? Let's rebuild. Let's make sure this never happens again. We need to be doing that now. We need to be thinking whether this was, man-made or transferred from an animal, virus bad. Like, what can we do to protect ourselves, right? Because it's freaking horrible. But there is in the news being validated that everyone who dies now, they're trying to link it to COVID-19. And so if you're on your deathbed because you're 98 years old and you also get COVID-19, they say you died because of COVID-19, not because you lived 90 years old. There was a governor who claimed some little baby died and it turned out to be a scam. Like, just said, hey, our first infant taken by COVID-19, and it was exposed. Like that shit fucking freaks me out.
It freaks everyone out.
What's that?
Freaks everyone out. That's the point. That's what.
But it's just that you can't trust anybody. Even the people that are telling you, no guns, no ammo. Get guns, get ammo. This medicine's no good. No, you got to get the medicine. Like, this is not the land of the brave and the free. At a certain level, a lot of censoring going on. So that bothers me the most about stuff because, and I moved here from Canada and I'm an American citizen and I'm not really political and don't understand the whole thing. I just want to get back to busting my ass trying to make good people safer, and doing what we can. So as far as where I'm getting it, same places as you. Obviously I have a conscious bias. There's a certain party and focus that I listen to, and I'm stunned and amazed at the other ones. And that might be, I'm sure the other side goes, you're an idiot, Tony, for doing that. And I'm going, no, you're the idiot. And that's the fight. But what I am saying is this is our medical 9/11, and fucking put all that shit down. Like the Kennedy Center didn't need $35 million in the disaster relief, right? Like, all of your friends who have to close their businesses needed immediate disaster relief. Like all the people that are deemed, inessential, right? So, but anyways, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
What bothers you the most? You've already answered this, but just to encapsulate, what really bothers you the most? Forget that you're on a podcast, you're talking to me, and that, okay, people might listen to this. How do I sound? When you're sitting around, what bothers you the most about what's going on when you're thinking to yourself? And like, you've already been very honest and shared some of the stuff early on, but is there anything else like what's that that single thought. And because it was very deep when you said, hey, when this is done, like what's the new world look like?
Right. I don't know. Yeah, I will say that I'm getting frustrated a lot more the more I'm on my phone. The people who don't take it seriously or making jokes about it, like I'm happy people can make jokes during these times and that kind of thing. But I also think a lot of people aren't taking it serious. So there's a lot of time where I'm just sitting and pondering. You know, usually when I have that empty time or that empty space, I fill it with responding to comments and that kind of thing. And I found myself just for hours, just kind of, I guess, a form of meditation, but I'm getting stuck in my head a lot, just sitting and staring.
The movie, change the script. I dig it.
Yeah, I guess that's what's going on. Now that you pointed out, I'm realizing that's what it is. And it's fucking with me a little bit, you know? So I'm trying to, I guess I got to rewrite it or just accept that like all of these predictions are possibilities and then just roll with the punches. Like you said, like, it's just going to be, it's just going to be,
let's go back to this, man. Cause this is, believe it or not, cathartic for you. And if you do share this, it'll be cathartic for whoever listens to it. We all, including myself, I'm the guy that created the system. I have negative movies running all the time. The difference is your movie might be 2 hours long and you're fucked. My movie's 20 minutes or 2 minutes. And I make the joke, like when I'm coaching people, I tell them, you had an idea. You saw it on Twitter. You threw a punch and hurt your shoulder and you heard something click and now you got a stinger and you start thinking, oh man, you're icing, you're doing the right thing, but your brain is going, what if I tore something? I'm not going to the hospital. I get a torn labrum and now I can't film fight tips. And what if that affects this? And shit, if I go to and you don't realize, like, for 3 days while it's rehabbing, 60% of your day or 20% of your day, whatever numeric value you want to assign it, is worrying about this thing that hasn't even happened yet. And it's making you angry. It's making you frustrated. And we get tight emotionally, and then we treat people differently. And when we're tight emotionally, guess what that does? That produces physical injuries because your body's tight. It's an interesting thing. And I want you to think about this. It's not, because I don't want anyone listening to this, and you as my friend, I don't want you to think about this, Shane, as, Tony's so positive. He's always saying, like, go to your happy space, like in Happy Gilmore, and where you remember the movie with Adam Sandler, Happy Gilmore. Find your happy space. That's not what I'm saying. We all have dark thoughts. What I'm saying is cultivate the self-awareness to catch yourself in the dark thought, and then consciously say, I want to go deeper right now because I want to explore this. But be prepared to turn the lights on. Be prepared to go, and I do this, you can see me now, people on the audio, where there's sometimes where I'll catch myself going, whoa, and I'll like shake my head, like shake myself out of it.
Yeah.
And it's my brain can go so fast into the fucking doomsday, end of days, right? I go, if this happens, this happens, this happens. And it could be business, it could be family, it could be an injury I have. And I start, next thing I know, my back hurts me. I get the shooting pain. Next thing I know, I'm visualizing I'm having an operation on my spine and it doesn't go well. And then I'm paralyzed. And then and like that happens. Like, you need to catch yourself and go, dude, I just produced a fucking horror film and I'm victim number one in it. Stop it. Walk out of the movie.
Yeah, I think I'm combating that. Like I'm separating it where, like, I'll have that hour where I have that horror movie going on in my mind, and then I'll snap out of it and be like, oh, I need to go do some breathing exercises and yoga to loosen up because I am feeling tight. But I think, and I'm not saying I don't have to do the yoga and the breathing exercises, but I'm saying I probably need it a lot less if I snapped out of that horror movie.
Yeah. And so the thing to do is the challenge is this. It's literally just like developing aerobic capacity. It's like I go for a sprint. You go and you go run, and you're like, you run for 30 seconds. You're like, and then it's such a negative experience that you actually dread the negative experience. So you don't train yourself, not realizing that it's the adaptation happens because of the frequency. So if you catch yourself more and more, the neuroplasticity of your brain develops the self-awareness muscle to go, dude, don't do that. Don't even start that thought. Right. So that 1 hour becomes 45 minutes. We're actually moving. We're not trying to cultivate endurance here. Right. we're trying to go, oh, I was just in a 1 hour movie where I was getting my ass kicked by myself. I'm the producer, I'm the writer, I'm the director, I'm the star. And then, you know what? I applied this movie, this no fear movie metaphor. And yesterday's movie was 45 minutes. And then I got to my breathing and my meditation sooner. And sometimes if you think about it, you ever, what do? You have Netflix?
Yeah.
Of course. Right. So what does Netflix do brilliantly? Right. If you put your mouse or scroll over a movie, what does it do without you even asking?
It automatically starts rolling.
It'll start showing you. And does it show you the most boring scene, or does it show you, some violence or some drama, right? And so you go in that moment, you get a dopamine hit and you go, should I go into this? Right? So that's the same thing, Shane, that happens if I go, I'm going to send you a tweet right now from something I read, right? Like I could do this as a real social experiment. I could go pick up your phone, check this out. You're not going to believe what they just discovered. While you're waiting for the tweet, I'm going to send you something that's going to freak you out. You ready? I'm going to send it to you. Are you on your phone now?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. You won't be. Okay.
Oh, I won't be able to read. Yeah.
But hold on a second. This is a good story. So let me ask you this. While I'm talking about this, did you notice your physiology changed? Is he actually going to do it?
Right. Yeah. I leaned in a little bit. Yeah.
You leaned in. Your breathing changed. Your breathing went to your chest instead of your diaphragm. I just gave you the beginning of a fear spike, and I was pretending to send you something. So I can trigger an element of anxiety because you're just worrying about the future. Now I could send you something. I'd send you a picture of like me nude, and you go.
Hopefully it's a dick pic.
Right? But if I sent you something negative, so if I sent you a joke, you go, man, you really got me there. I was so scared, and the movie's over because we laughed. But if I send you something going, hey, you're not going to believe this. Like, hey, I just a friend of mine who works in DC said that this lockdown is going to go for 2 years.
Right.
And if you believe that, you would go, oh my God, right? You'd freak, as would we all. So I just want you to understand in this little social experiment, how cool that was, that just the idea of me sending you a tweet changed your physiology, changed your mood, changed everything. And had this not been a social experiment where I do the big reveal, if it was real, you'd be in a fucking bad mood right now. And you'd be in that whirlpool. But if you go, this is just a movie I'm playing in my mind, I could actually take the remote. The remote is self-awareness. Click. Change the channel. It doesn't mean that the fear goes away. But what now it's not doing is all consuming. Because the information, like that's why I tell people, the virus is real, the danger is real, but it doesn't mean that you need to be immobilized and spend every day like you're in quicksand, fucking hoping you don't die, just struggling to keep your head like above the threshold.
Right.
And the biggest thing that I can tell you and your audience is, that's why I created the No Fear program, spelled KNOW. That when we change our relationship with fear, we change our life. That we go, you know what? It's okay to be afraid, but it's not okay to immobilize me. Now, oh shit, I just got this news. I need provisions. Oh, I do need a gun. I don't need a gun. Okay, I'm jumping in the car and driving here. Let's get oh, you know what? Everything's going to be okay, but we now need to do this to, acclimate to the new world, whatever it is. And that's all part of managing fear. And remember, doubt creates hesitation. Hesitation creates fixation. Fixation is what produces the movie. And if we fixate there, we create a state of anxiety, not clinical anxiety where you're having a panic attack, although some people take it there. But, you live with anxiety every day. I do too, right? And when some people go, no, I don't have anxiety, you're using it in the clinical sense. I'm not talking about a panic attack anxiety. I'm talking about, hey man, how you doing? I'm good, man. What's up? What do you mean you're good? You don't look good. You look like I look at you, you look tense for Shane.
Huh.
right? How I look at you. You're carrying the weight of what's happening with your family. You're a good person, Shane. And so you're worried about humanity, right? And so that's anxiety. There's nothing wrong with that. It's
Yeah.
just, if you stopped working out, if that anxiety turned into depression, then I got to fucking risk my life, drive up there, kick you in the fucking ass, and make you start working out again, right?
I'm glad to know you would do that for me.
But I would do that. My goal in these talks, and I didn't know we were going to get into my shit. I just wanted to interview you, but because I care about you and what you shared, it forced me, it compelled me. It's that the goal isn't, to get you on a treatment plan. The goal is to install this no fear software in your brain that you go anytime you have a fear spike about sparring, about filming, right? So if I said, hey, so-and-so is going to come over and he's your biggest idol, the person you always wanted to meet, you might turn to Marie and go, fuck, I'm so nervous. I want to fucking come across like an idiot there. That's the movie starting. And if you can stop and go, dude, look how cute that is. You're so nervous. When I met Stallone years ago on Rocky 5,
Yeah.
I couldn't fucking breathe. I was like, and I remember hanging out with him in his trailer, just me and him, and we're talking. And when he found out that I trained fighters for real, that I loved boxing, that I wasn't an actor on the set, I wasn't an extra, I didn't have a small part. I was there training Tommy Morrison. Hang on, my dogs want to be on the podcast. Hang on a second. Hey guys, you know I'm doing a podcast, right? Those dogs are always trying to steal the spotlight. But I remember hanging out with him, and I was doing my best not to go have my voice quaver and pass out. Like it was like, so I wasn't like, hello, Mr. Stallone. Like, but inside I'm like, holy shit. And so we're yakking, and I told him, I said, the highlight of my fucking boxing life was meeting Sugar Ray Robinson. And I told him a story about that, and his eyes lit up because he loves boxing. And
you met Ray Robinson?
Sugar Ray Robinson, oh yeah. That's an amazing story.
When?
Before he died, obviously.
Yeah.
Years ago in the 80s, he had an institute, the Sugar Ray Robinson Institute in Los Angeles, and I was traveling to go do an interview for Black Belt magazine, and I used to watch in the 80s at the peak of my fascination and love for. I used to get up every single day, and I would go for a run. I lived near Mount Royal, which is a small mountain in Montreal, and it was all trails. And I would go run for 30 to 60 minutes through the trails, come back, make a bowl of oatmeal, and then I would watch a boxing documentary. And one that I almost wore out was I forget the name of it now, but it was a Sugar Ray Robinson story. And I used to study his footwork and his mindset and all this stuff. And I would do that in Montreal. We'd have 30 below weather, winters and stuff. I'd run every season all the time. My favorite was actually running in blizzards because there's no sound. It's almost like you're in a noise canceling. And you can hear your feet landing if there's a few inches of snow. And
breath.
Yeah, it was amazing. And like a cocoon, you're running in a cocoon and you're floating. It was amazing, man, with flashbacks. But I was a huge Sugar Ray Robinson nut, and I would like research and do stuff. And he had a foundation in LA, and I was in LA for these meetings. And I called up, secretary answers, and I said, "Is there any chance that I could meet Sugar Ray Robinson, get a picture with him, get his signature?" And she says, well, we don't know when he comes in. He's in his 80s now. He's not feeling so good. And so he comes in unannounced just to sign autographs on photos for people who, he says, if you want, I can get you a photo. I go, well, I live in Canada. I'm here for like 2 days. Do you mind if I come by? He says, well, you can come by, but like he may not come in all week. I go, well, and I just went there with a book, and I sat there for like 6 hours, and I'm sitting there, and the door opens. Dude, I might start to cry right now. I got goosebumps. The door opens, and there he is, like he's a fucking god, legend, but like your grandpa now. And his secretary told me, you know, he's struggling with, I don't know if it was Alzheimer, dementia, or whatever. His memory's not good. And, you know, so we don't really like visitors. And I said, was it okay? Like, I just, like, if I can get a picture. He invites me in his office. I'm sitting there one-on-one with him. And I look at him and I go, you know, I'm like speechless, almost like I am, right? Like if you could see the goosebumps I have on me thinking back, I haven't thought about this in decades. And I go, like, Mr. Robinson, you know, call me Ray, you know, like, no, Mr. Robinson, like, I cannot believe I'm like even talking to you. You're like the boxer. If I could be a boxer, I'd be you. And I watch this, and I'm like, he's looking at me. He goes, where are you from? And I go, Montreal. And he looks up. He goes, I fought, and he named a guy he fought. Montreal used to be a big boxing town.
Yeah.
Fought somebody in the 40s there. And as soon as he started boxing, we talking boxing, he became completely lucid.
Yeah, yeah.
He was talking about boxers and boxing and this and that. And we ended up doing a picture, gave me an autograph. Fucking amazing. And you know, I hung out with Sugar Ray Leonard too. Like his name, like that. Like these are like just insane. But
wait, so I threw you off track. So you told Stallone that you had met.
Yeah. So I'm talking to Stallone, and I'm trying to talk about things that would get him engaged because I'm so nervous. But if I get him to connect to something else, then he's not staring at me because I'm sitting in his trailer on Rocky V, and it's just the two of us.
Right.
He knew that I was there on behalf of Tommy Morrison because I was helping train Tommy Morrison. When he wasn't shooting, I was friends with John Brown, who owned Ringside Products, who say, like, Tommy's a real boxer. So when he's not doing the movie star shit, I need you doing pad work with him, making sure he's running, keep his head in the game, right? And so I'm on the set, and I have a gym. So I'm like, we're in between some shit, and I went by his trailer, and I wanted to get like a picture or a poster for my gym to bring back when the shoot's over. So I'm standing outside, but because I had like an all access pass, I could walk around the set. So I'm hanging out his trailer, and he had two security guards outside his trailer, and they're going, yeah, Mr. Stallone's not seeing anybody right now. And they're going, yeah, I just wanted to ask him a quick question. Like when he comes out, I'm not gonna knock and bother him. No. Like, you know, what do you want? We'll give him the message. And they're being like really like, and I guess maybe that's their job. Like everyone wants something, right?
Right.
As they're blowing me off, the door opens, and he recognizes me, but he knows me as the fighter who's helping with. So he doesn't see me as a movie guy who's trying to get into movies. He sees me as an athlete coach. So he sees me, he goes, hey, Tony. And and he goes, and the two bodyguards like snapping when the door opens, and he goes, how's it going? And I go, hey, listen, I don't want to bother you right now, but when I go back to my gym, I'd love to get a picture of you over my ring. Just could you say something to all my fighters?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, come on in, right? I'm doing a horrible Stallone, right? Don't ever let him see this. So
pretty good.
So I go, so he invites me in. You should see these guys like look at me like just as, right? Because a minute ago they were like, get away, peasant, right? And so I go in there, and I'm like, but this is like spear system. It's startle flinch. A stimulus got introduced too quickly. I just wanted a poster. I didn't think I was getting invited into his trailer. So he goes, I think I got something around here. He gives me, hadn't been released yet. It was probably a prototype for a poster from Rambo. It's out now, but it was like him ripped for Rambo. He goes, "Is this okay?" And I'm like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
Right? And he goes, "What should I write?" He goes, "How's this?" He goes, "Two Tony's boys, Sylvester Stallone." And I'm like, "Wow!" I said, man. He goes, "Sit down, sit down." And he goes, "You from Montreal, right?" You go, "Yeah." You know the Hiltons? Because the Hilton brothers. They're 5 boxing brothers. I love boxing my whole time as the highlight, and I slip in and then like Sugar Ray Robinson. He goes, "Oh, Robinson," and I tell him. But what I did on purpose, good tip for anybody trying to meet somebody that you're nervous to meet, is create rapport by talking about something you have a mutual interest in. Because now, if I'm nervous about you, I'm looking at you. But if I go, "Shane, in front of me, I've got an iPad Pro." Let's say I know you love Macs. I go, "Do you have an iPad Pro?" Suddenly you're not looking at me. You're going, "Yeah, the iPad Pro. Which model do you have?" And we're talking about that. And suddenly I realize, I can take a breath. We're not talking about me, or he's not looking at me, right?
That's a great tip.
Isn't that cool? So I get him talking about boxing, and I'm relaxing. And then I told him about when I met Stallone. Not so when I met Stallone. When I met Sugar Ray Leonard, and playing 21 with him. And next thing I know, I'm showing him, we're in his trailer doing fucking moves, and I'm showing him how I jab off my lead foot and this and that. And suddenly I realize I'm not giving him a private lesson, but I'm showing him shit, and he's standing there and he's doing stuff, and we're fucking like doing drills in his trailer. And all of a sudden I stop and I detach Shane, and I go, "Oh my God, look what's going on. This is your life right now. Holy shit." And I look at him.
Yeah.
This is my transparency. I go, "Hold on a second." And he stops and he looks at me, and he goes, "What?" I said, "I got to tell you, like, we're hanging out here. I'm showing you how I punch, and you're doing this, and you're a good athlete. And I'm showing you how I jab off the lead foot. And most boxers jab off the rear foot. And we're discussing that I'm talking about all this stuff, right?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "Well, but also part of me is going, this is Sylvester Stallone." And I do it just like that. And he fucking laughs, punches me in the arm, just gives me a little punch. He goes, "Man, I'm just another guy."
Yeah,
right? It was like such a cool moment, right?
Yeah.
But anyways.
That's great. That's
cool.
Dude,
you hijacked the call. It was supposed to be about you and COVID-19.
I tend to do that. I hate talking about myself. So then I start asking the questions.
You did to me what I did to Stallone. Good job.
There you go. See?
You reverse engineered it. Nice.
Student becomes the teacher.
Okay. But I'm turning it back on you. Without making this political. I'm not picking sides. If I said to you, and you can't not answer this. You can't go, "I'm not answering that, stupid."
We'll see.
I go, "Shane, you're not going to believe this, but I just spoke to our president, and he's actually putting you in charge. What do you want to do?"
Give my power to someone else.
What a way to weasel out of the end.
Lottery. I would put everyone's name into a hat and pull the name out. What's the question? What do I do different?
Question. Shane's hoping like, "Hey, isn't our podcast over?"
Yeah, you said a half hour.
It was 30 minutes, right? I was just checking. I got another meeting that's at 1:30. No, the question is, if you were in charge, what would you do? What would you implement? What would you change?
I guess I would just use a lot of the funding to do more research and hire scientists and I don't know. I would get advice from the professionals rather than the politicians, the people who know what they're talking about more so.
Right.
How would I find those people? I don't know. I'm not prepared enough to answer.
I can tell you this: if I need to pick somebody to save the world, it's not going to be you, Shane.
No.
I'm kidding. No, it's you know what I think?
No, that's a good thing.
There's nothing wrong with your answer. I'm teasing you. I like to tease you. But it's and I gave you shit about this when I interviewed you for the first time I interviewed you, is that you have more value because of how down to earth and how caring you are, and you should get more comfortable. Like, at a deeper level, it's your fear of having an opinion about that you're not really qualified, that I think suppresses some good stuff. Because I've seen you flow, and then I see when I can tell your voice changes, you move around a lot. Like when you're like, I don't want that question. But we don't.
I guess. No. All right. I would like personally. What I would do is I would encourage people to just stay calm. That would be my main message. Would be to stay calm and to trust the process and to continue to show love to one another. Because you never make a good decision when it's a rash decision. So that would be my message.
And rash decisions are created by what?
Fear and uncertainty.
Fear.
And
everything. Yeah. At the end of the day, everything comes down to fear. Every decision we make comes down to fear. And so cool. No, that's a fair answer. What has so you've been very honest and down to earth. But what has been the most challenging thing for you throughout this? We've talked about peaks and valleys and experience and thoughts like that. A lot of stuff. This is a lot more psychological conversation than some of my other ones, which is great. But what is because we're all leaders, right? And as close as you are to your immediate family and your parents and all that, there are, even like as close as Jessie and I are, like the deepest fear that I have, I've never shared with her. Right? It's like, it's something I've like, oh, what's that? So you're not going to ask me that because this isn't your podcast. But what is the most challenging thing for you through this? And you might have already mentioned it, but there might be something else. I want you to pretend we're not on a podcast and we're just sitting in a bar, and you just go, you know what the fucking most challenging thing is?
I don't know. Besides what I've already mentioned, what are some other answers that you've gotten? Notice what I did there?
No, you're like, we're having a test and I'm covering my answers, dude. Like you're not going to look at this shit. You don't have to have an answer. This is literally, there's no manipulation in this podcast, right? So you're not here selling a book, and you know what I'm saying? It's like a lot of podcasts, sometimes it's to promote a fight or to sell a book, or
right.
We're just having I think you're a cool guy. I like you. I like your message. I like your messaging. And I wanted to have you on the show.
You know what, it like kind of feeling trapped, I guess. Missing my family and then like the fear of flying. Even driving, if I wanted to see my family who's in Philadelphia, I'd have to drive, but then I'd have to stop at gas stations along the way, and there's more chances of getting that. So it's that fear of being trapped, being stuck for an indefinite amount of time.
Underneath the layer, you dig a little deep. That's a fucking heavy answer. That's a good answer. Feeling trapped is fucking heavy.
Yeah.
And now I want you to use that as the trigger word to stop the movie. Because underneath in the unconscious is like, I want to go to the beach. No, I can't go to the beach. It's fucking closed, right? Like, okay, I'm going to go to the park, and I can't go to the park either. Fuck.
Yeah. Man,
I'm trapped. And this is like the deeper. Look how powerful your answer is for you and for others listening to this. That thought wasn't conscious. It took you an hour and then a couple of minutes to have that bubble up. That thought informs other thoughts at an unconscious level. Hey, why are you in such a bad mood today? I don't know. I'm just fucking cranky.
Yeah.
Well, the guy didn't answer me. I fucking emailed him last night. Hey, motherfucker. And you no, it's because you feel trapped. You're not really, you don't give a shit about that email. Right? And it would be nice if people answered in real time. Fuck you, right? But it's but you understand what I mean? It's like underneath that. It's you remember the story I told about Sean the fighter on your podcast, where I said, hey, how do you feel? I'm nervous. And I went, you're supposed to be nervous. You're about to get in a fight. And then I thought, afterwards, wow, what a bullshit answer that is. Like, that's the classic. That's like a B action boxing movie. You're supposed to be nervous, kid. You're getting in a fight.
All right.
You know, but it was like, I then had the intuition because I understand the system. Nervousness is just generic. It's just a buzz. What is the buzz? What's creating the buzz? If I go, you know, why are you so angry at this guy with the email? And you go, well, it's just disrespectful. Dude, I've never seen you act like that. And then finally you go, you know what? I just feel fucking trapped. And trapped means I feel suffocated. I'm feeling claustrophobic. I'm feeling all of these other things, and they make anyone snap. But if you can create the self-awareness to do that, you can talk yourself through that. And if it's not immediate danger, like a violent encounter, guess what you can do? You can step out of that story, that movie, and you can lie down and fucking do some breathing and some meditation. You can go hit a bag. You can go for a walk, right? So you can, movement's mental. And so, but we need to make that connection. So I loved your answer. It's fucking cool. But for anyone to not leave anyone hanging, what I told my fighter, Sean, is I said, hey, how do you feel? You're about to fight? He says, nervous. I said, you're supposed to be nervous, but you're going to fight. You know, no matter if the other guy looks at you and doesn't look nervous, that's his facade. Inside, his heart's pounding too. He's got adrenaline too. Great, coach. Thanks. I end up going, oh shit. I apply what I'm sharing with you guys to myself. Don't give a Zen fortune cookie answer and everything goes away. Go deep. What is the fear? And I said to him, what exactly are you nervous about? His first answer, like you, was, oh, it's nothing. It's stupid. Well, how could it be stupid? And think about what we do. No, Shane, give me your answer. Nah, so don't put me in charge. I'm going to give it to somebody else, right? That's deflecting.
Yeah.
Then, because I care, I massaged you into an amazing answer. I feel trapped. And that's something you can leave this talk with going, wow, I don't want to feel trapped. How do I mitigate that? How do I reframe that in my mind? Because that's going to inform and inspire how I go about my day and how I create and how I interact. And so for the fight fans listening to this, which are a couple of million, depending on who gets to see it, is this idea, Shane, that you know the story. I said, well, what are you nervous about? He said, nothing, it's stupid. I said, no, it's not stupid. And he says, I've never fought a 4-round fight. It was an amateur fight for a title. He said, I've only fought 3 rounds. And I said to him, can you fight 2 rounds? And he's like, yeah, of course. I said, so do 2 rounds twice.
Yeah.
And he smiled and went, I can do that. And the idea here, the message for everybody here is, don't look at what's the world going to be like in 10 years. For me, there's today and tomorrow. The news changes within 24 hours. So I focus on, what do I have to do to fucking be productive today? And before I go to bed, I'm thinking about and planning tomorrow. And I may get a stimulus tomorrow that says, oh, fuck, change of plans. That's the spear system, startle, flinch, convert, right? I gotta get back in there. So I loved your last answer, man. And I'm glad we drew it out of you. Final message for people listening. As
your president, stay calm.
Dude, that was good. It was really bad, but it was good.
Yeah. Keep your community strong, your family, your friends, your teammates. A lot of us have a lot of extra time. And instead of just scrolling on our phones, take the time to write a heartfelt message or call or FaceTime those that matter to you, because they're thinking of you too, and they'll appreciate it.
Amazing. Dude, great conversation.
Yeah, it was, Coach. I really appreciate it. Hey, if you need anything personally, just let me know.
I need like 2 million of your followers. Just can you transfer them over like transferring points?
Just transferring
transfer to my YouTube account.
Yeah.
They'd hate my shit anyhow. So what the point? It was like, no, I don't. All you talk about is psychology. I want to punch someone in the face. I get that. I miss that.
They're just not. They're not there yet. They just haven't.
Yeah. We're still recording, so I just want to. I
gotta give them tough love, honest love too.
Right. And I don't edit shit.
Because I wasn't there until later. I liked all the sexy, flashy stuff first too.
This is true. And I did too. That's that evolution, right? It took me a while. It took me 15, 18 years before I realized that, what I wanted to do in a fight and what actually happened in a fight were two different things. That the bad guy actually controlled a lot of how I felt, when I got to move, where I got to hit, right? And a lot of people don't want to hear that message. But if part of your martial practice is for personal safety, then you need to understand things like situational awareness and self-awareness, and managing the fear spike, and threat discrimination, doing what's morally, ethically. Like there should be a talk. Maybe we'll do another talk one day on what I call ethical self-defense. Because there's a lot of people that go, well, guy does that, he's fucked, he's messed with the wrong guy. That's what I carry. That's why I have a knife. That's why I got a gun. That's why I just suplex him. I just break his neck. And you hear all sorts of going, you can do that, but if you get caught, you're going to jail. That's excessive force. That doesn't, force must parallel danger, blah, blah, blah. So important.
In your years, Coach, how do people, is the only way that a person recognizes how important the psychology is it only from them physically getting attacked or getting beat up, or like someone close to them? Or can you actually convince them how important it is? If
somebody is a critical thinker, they'll get it. You see it all the time. Listen, I can tell you, stop smoking, and then a good friend of yours gets lung cancer from smoking, and you're like, it scares the shit out of you, and you quit. I can tell you wear your seatbelt all the time. I grew up in a generation where there were no seatbelts, and then they became in, and then it was like, you're going to get a ticket, and then it was mandatory. But you would never put a seatbelt on. Well, people would go through windshields, right? And seatbelts and airbags save lives. So you can go through a windshield, get damaged, and have a near-death experience, and then go, I will never drive without a seatbelt on, right? So you are right. Some people have to have close calls and near catastrophic events to go, now I understand. But that's stupid. Like, why do you want to go through a windshield to put on your seatbelt? Can't you just look at the statistics? And, it's interesting. We've tried, and you've been very generous with your audience. You've tried a few times to creatively slip my message in there. And some people go, wow, this is great. I'm a fan. I dig it. And a lot of people are like, I thought he'd be taller. I'd never seen him in the octagon. I guess he can't fight, and it's unfortunate because you know me well enough to know that I really do care about trying to make people safer. And I always tell people, violence doesn't care what martial art you study, right? If I can give you an adrenaline dump and make you worry about the future by pretending I'm going to send you a tweet, right? And that's what people need to understand. And you can't be cavalier about violence, especially in this day and age. And so, we're doing what we can online and writing all the time. We're writing tips and stuff in our newsletter that goes out every day. But we're trying to get people to realize that the model and the formula of detect and avoid, defuse and de-escalate, and then if push comes to shove, defend, is ethical self-defense. And whether you're a Thai boxer, whether you're Jeet Kune Do, whether you're MMA, whether you're Krav Maga, inserting that blueprint of violence into your protocols, your safety protocols, just makes you safer. And the fact that you train martial arts should make you more fit and more resilient if it goes to D3, the defend part. So people, when they hear my message, they forget that I've been a martial artist for 50 years and I love martial arts. And that my epiphany, my light bulb moment in designing this program was organic, because one of my students got his ass kicked in 1980 because I was teaching him how to box, how to kick, and how to wrestle. Not 13 years before the first UFC. I'm not saying I invented MMA, but I was heavily inspired by Bruce Lee. And so I was already eclectic in putting shit together, but I was a strong wrestler who loved Taekwondo and was in love with boxing. So when I would teach my students, what do you think I would teach them? Like Kung Fu? No, I was teaching them. And being a Bruce Lee nut, I was, of course, playing with Wing Chun and stuff like that. So of course, it was eclectic. but he got his ass kicked because my focus was on physicality, not on the psychology or the physiology. Boom.
Maybe you should start wearing a gi when you teach in your videos. People get more
Right.
serious.
Just to get them in the door and then take it off and go, I tricked you in here, but I just want to make people safer. You know that. We'll get them. They need tough love. Hopefully they'll listen to this. Is there a way to share it to them when we release?
Yeah, when you release it, I'll share it on Instagram.
Okay. Yeah. Because the more people that hear this realize that I do care. I'm one of the good guys. And that what unites us all as humans is physiology and fear.
I recognize it, Coach.
I know you do, buddy. Okay,
Is it
bro.
raining there? Just started raining here.
No, I got a roof. So do you. Is it raining inside your gym?
Got a little sun window.
Nice. No, yeah, it's been raining on and off for 2 days, but that's all right.
Yep.
Okay, you be safe.
You too, Coach.
Say hi to your family for me. And when this is over, let's get together in person. And maybe we won't shake hands or hug, but maybe we'll bump elbows and go sup and talk from 6 feet away. Yeah, I hope. In all seriousness, I hope this lifts fast for the economic risks and the health risks.
Same. Yeah, look forward to it.
Okay, man. Be safe.
All right, Coach. You too.